Techies and techettes, what's going down? We got a new Adrenalin 2020 software that hit the shores yesterday, and I was doing some NVIDIA stuff, but I thought this was a hilarious comment and I have a rebuttal for it. On the NVIDIA, they said, a man with a man bun. Well, I'll give you something cooler. Uncut. That's right, raw tech. Let's roll. My name is Mac here at the MacGyver7 channel, and today what we're going to be doing is going to cover a lot of cool stuff for as far as what's going to be changing. One of the bigger things was the War Saga of Troy. It hit the shore with a 12% better FPS. Now, if they're actually going to basically be telling us the truth, what's going on with that between the softwares, what they've been testing on the 20.8.1, well, then we're going to see a lot of other things. Flight Simulator also hit with NVIDIA on their shores for as far as what it came up to FPS and graphics, and they got a little bit more into the shells, and then Avengers Beta, because that is coming up pretty soon for a lot of people on the PC, which is pretty cool, which I definitely encourage you Marvel fans to get out there and check it out. Even though I'm rocking DC right now, I'll be gone in a flash. I'll tell you what's up. It's a really fun beta. I enjoyed it a lot. It didn't even really felt like almost like a day one for like most people, which is sad because that's beta in my opinion. But it seems like there might be hitting a home run with Square Enix. So check out the beta if you're on PC. All you gotta do is basically pre-order it beforehand and you'll have access to it. But going back to the game related news as we slide into AMD, some of the main issues I wanted to point out that were in last time were the 20.8.1 tanked when it came down to overclocking. If you guys and gals did not check that overclock episode out, you can. It was like nice, really fun, like just slam of a non-home run. It was kind of interesting, but it was fixed with a Windows driver that later on I was able to retain a almost like a 2000, so it was actually really chill. So like I'd like to think that a lot of the stuff on Windows and their horrible ecosystem of today. But as we kind of jump into the pure overlay, we see what's going to happen. The report of hangups in the exiting system, well, it's sleep on the Ryzen 300 processors are pretty much garbage right now, as they were trying to fix it before. Now I'm hoping that that is no longer. They took the trash out. Hopefully it'll be picked up, but who knows. Pressing the keys for as far as the overlay sometimes for the Hyperscape would kind of be a hang up, and it may have caused, well, basically failure around the board. And then the upgrade for as far as the visors and them unable to get the requirements in Windows 7, which I feel like a lot of people are still hanging on to 7. I get it. 10 isn't that too hot either, you know, especially when you get to 2004. But the known issues right over here, they are a lot more decadent nowadays with FreeSyncs as far as the flicker between the moments. Now a lot of these can be like fixed between like toggling some of the switch, or if, personally in my opinion, I will stop for like the patch notes to check you guys. You can see that I have this pulled up right over here, which these are going to be some fun little situations, because I've noticed that sometimes I've had an issue when I toggle on the advanced scheduling and then it'll go down in score, which sometimes is because of Windows and its update. If something around there has gone into a crazy thing, all you're going to need to do, go to your performance, and if you already have a tuned situation, I know this is going to suck. I know I just completely reinstalled mine so I can actually do the test validly. Just hit a reset in default. I noticed that I can gain a pretty good amount of performance back when I clear those cache. But looking at now for as far as our known overlays, as we kind of get into the situation of what's gone past that, I just kind of put that because there's a lot more stuff for the flickering screens and other situations where FPS are tanking throughout this and the HDR enabling portions. And a lot of these are kind of redundant issues that have been kind of hitting the shore, but they are trying to investigate and look into these, and you have these as patch notes down below. But for right now, I think we should get into some benchmarks. There's a lot of cool stuff to talk about. So we're looking at the original 20.8.1, and oh man, it looks kind of decent when you have like, you know, just your Windows security like garbage. Not really, I'm being a little I guess snazzy. That situation is basically, it was so unpredictable. It bounced around where I had to turn off everything. Advanced scheduling, variable refresh rate. I ran the test so many times down to the point where I was like, all right, I just have to have everything off. And I finally dialed in a really good score. Now, when switching back over to like our situation of really awesomeness, this new optional worked really well with the Radeon 7 for me. And I'm really excited to hear back from the community, to hear what you guys and gals have out there and what is working for you. Because I know a lot of times, sometimes people will say, hey, you know, my 57 XT is not not working, or you know, like your 5000 processor. There's a lot, you know, and I'd like to hear what basically your people are experiencing, but you can always fall back to the 20.4.2, which is your standard. So you always have a nice little hope of a home run with that one. If that one fails, we'll then always do a clean install, and I have another video for that too. If you just research, like, I think AMD clean install, it should pop up just like that. But going back to where we're at with our DirectX 11, as we're sizing up our scores and kind of looking back and forth going, well, what's good and what's not. So what I ended up finding out was that pretty much your graphic accelerator on with the, if you do have the option for the variable refresh rate, turn it off. You'll gain just a tiny bit, but not too bad actually. It's only by 7 points. It's really not that big of a deal. So that means it's kind of locked in stable. So who knows, not to say, if you lock that in, you gain a nice portion of what our FPS is back with you, with an actual really cool situation that's not tearing. Now, looking at the portion that followed is pretty much the same thing throughout DirectX 11. As you can see, the more extreme overclocking portion of the DirectX 11, which seems to be a little bit easier for Intel, Nvidia, and just AMD nowadays with their more advanced portions of what they're doing with the software. It's really nice, really good to use, and quite frankly, it seems like it's a very nice broadband portion between games, which is pretty cool. So this is, again, with advanced scheduling on, and this is with it, you know, completely from driver to driver. For as far as like getting the situation, you can kind of see where it tanks a lot. Like in the situation for 4K, yeah, you'd want to hope that you gain some more. Looking at our ultra scores, they do follow the same trend. So with the newer driver installed for optional, DirectX 11 advanced scheduling on, you should be pretty cheers. But let's go ahead and look inside of DirectX 12 in the world of ultimate nowadays for everyone from Nvidia to every company just getting their hands on more of the advanced, I guess, coding. And this does really good with the advanced scheduling on. So finally, unfortunately, where Nvidia, it seems like you have to toggle it off and on depending on where you're at. AMD and Windows right now are playing synergy. So I dig it. I really do. This is not a bad update at all so far. So good, everyone. But pretty much that, besides a lot of cooler stuff that's coming around. We have Big Navi. We've got the, what is it, 3080, 3090 series that's coming out for AMD. Intel's finally making a comeback with their, I think it's the XE series. There's a lot of series, but it's like this really cool cord, like Lego blocking system that like is really cool for games and for streamers and creators and servers. Like I was actually really interested with that, because when they mentioned like 16K processors, I was like, wait, hold on, you mean like there's that many? And I was just like, that was mind-boggling. It was like, boom, but amazing boom, that we're getting down to this cutting edge technology where, you know, people are showing some really cool stuff, especially with the last stuff that Intel's been unveiling. Like it's been pretty cool. Like we'll be seeing like some cool stuff in the near future for like, you know, Team Red having a whole computer built by themselves. Same thing with, you know, Nvidia and they're rendering the processors like that. I'm actually really interested to see if they can pull off a really cool CPU. They'll have a whole Team Green, like I guess PC, and then you have like Team Blue for like Intel, and like it's just really exciting for technology. But everyone, you have a nice classy day. I'll see you guys and gals in the near future. If you're new to the network, you can always subscribe, absolutely free, helps me out as a creator. And if you do today, who knows, maybe you can just give this nice little Trident RAM a nice little home inside of my PC for an overclocking video that I've been wanting to do anyways, because I finally got the actual physical portion of what is it, the new Ryzen overclock, and it definitely did have it, but I was waiting for another update, and I think it might be stable enough in my BIOS now. So I might be doing that. Stay tuned. If you're new, get excited. Or if you've been watching that other Ryzen video that I had that was the overclocking and you're like, hey, I want to see more, I'm definitely going to try to shoot for that. But I'll see you guys and gals in the near future, and hopefully that little Trident Neon 3800 frequency will get a nice little home, because I just love these. They're just so good. And it's just so experimental. The 1.5 volts, that's where it gets a little tricky, but it's not too tricky as long as you don't go past 1.6. But then I need to switch my memory process over. That's why I haven't been wanting to do that. It's an elongated story. I'm talking too much. I'll see you guys and gals in the near future. All right, everyone. Later.